Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of the Elite City Podcast. Today, Biddy is away on assignment, so it's just Rick and I. So, how you doing, sir?
Good. I'm just picturing everyone just like closing the podcast app when like, oh, Biddy's done. Well,
Yes.
fine. Don't need to listen to that. But stay. We have lots going on. We have so many things to talk about.
Tons to talk about.
Possibly too much to talk about. So,
yes,
let's get started. Can't waste time on pleasantries.
That is very true. But before we get started, it is Forbidden Door week, and
yes,
that crept up on me.
I know. Like in case you didn't know, I'm going to Forbidden Door.
Was not aware.
I feel like I bought those tickets like simultaneously a year ago and like 10 minutes ago. Like it's weird. Like it's very strange.
Yeah, it's I can't believe it's here. I mean, this is exactly what's going to happen for All In too. Like before we know it, summer's going to be over.
Yeah,
and we'll be like, oh my god, it's All In week.
Yeah.
So this will be our first episode of Collision. So we're going to go over that. We're going to give our thoughts on it. It's not every day you get to watch the first episode of a new wrestling show. So that'll be fun. So we're going to jump right in with what happened on Dynamite. So first off, what did you think of Dynamite this week?
I thought it was really good. It was one of the better, like, not that Dynamite's been bad at all.
Correct.
But it was one of the not just better, but like fast moving. It was the kind of like wrestling TV that I like, where it's just like constant stuff happening. By the time it was over, I was like, that was 2 hours. Like it went really fast, but like a good way. I liked it.
Yes. Oh, it was very fun. It had everything that, I mean, it just had everything. It was just a great show. MJF versus Adam Cole. I was blown away by the ending, which we'll get into here in a minute. But all around, I mean, I feel that people don't necessarily give Adam Cole that much credit, and he made all those people be quiet because they crushed this match. Ooh.
Yeah, it was a great match. Excellent match. I mean, MJF quietly, like, it's weird because MJF doesn't wrestle very often, and his whole gimmick is kind of like, I don't want to wrestle. I don't want to be here. I don't need to do this. But like, he's had so many really good matches in like the last year or two. Like, they've been so good. And you're right, Adam Cole, he's been gone for a while, so you kind of forget that he's really good himself. And this was the match that Adam Cole needed to come back. Like,
yes, absolutely.
We don't need to talk about Jericho anymore that we have. But like, the feud with Jericho was not what he needed. This is what he needed. Like, to like immediately cement him as, oh yeah, this guy's a good wrestler. This guy's an entertaining guy. This guy should be in main events. That's exactly what he needed.
And I mean, just the way that they put this match together, it took MJF's strengths to like the next level. I mean, the beginning of the match, I was frustrated with him rolling out of the ring. It was done so well.
He knows his character so perfectly, and how he, like, I think that's why he's really good at like ad-libbing stuff that like happens with the crowd or whatever, because like he just knows exactly how like MJF, the character, would respond to anything, and just makes it like, he's been really good. Yeah.
Well, he flipped that kid's hat off in the crowd, and his glasses got knocked off. Oh my god, the internet acted like he like kicked a puppy. Like, first and foremost, it was a grown adult. Second, they knew exactly what they were getting into when they got in his face.
And he flicked his hat off. It's not like he punched him, or like, it's not like he hurt him. Right. Like
exactly. And I'm sure, like, when the camera panned back over and they saw the kid's glasses were off, or the guy's glasses, I keep saying kid. It was not a young kid. It was a full-blown adult.
Yeah.
I'm sure AEW came over with a voucher for the
for something.
Like T-shirts or something. Like, MJF didn't try to knock the guy's glasses off, but I'm sure he was taken care of as far as a fan. But anyways, the ending that made half of the internet mad
Shockingly, the internet was mad. I'm very surprised. I thought it was great. I didn't even expect, because I know all the matches, the title matches are 60 minutes, like 30 minutes. I mean, so I didn't even think of it though. I know they mention it always at the beginning of the show, and they did like the 10 minutes remaining thing, which I didn't even think of in my head. That end up in it. Like they made me when like Danielson and Omega, Danielson and Hangman had their 60-minute draws. At around 50 minutes, you could be like, oh, they're going to go to a draw.
Yeah. Yes.
Not that was bad, but like you could probably in your head think, oh, they're probably good. I never thought that this was going to go to a draw at all.
Yeah. I loved every segment because, like you said, they literally took you out of the moment of time limit.
Yeah, I was even thinking like, oh, this match is going to go half an hour, but I didn't think like, oh, then it's going to end. I just thought, I'm surprised this match is so long.
Right.
But, yeah, it was great.
It was really good. I like the way they did it. And I mean, this is, if we're going to go by wrestling logic, this is unprecedented territory. We have not had an eliminator match end in a draw.
Right. And it's the perfect way for it to end because you didn't really want MJF to lose already. Right. And you didn't want Adam Cole to lose. So this was the right way to do it. And it played into both their characters. Adam Cole wanted 5 more minutes and MJF just walked away. Like it was perfect.
Yeah. Oh, so good. We had the promo of the night, probably the line of the night is going to go to Darby Allin, but him and Sammy had a heck of a promo joined by your friend Chris Jericho.
Yes. Well, Space Sammy, first of all, is working.
Yes, it is.
And I think Ty being pregnant is helping that, but hey, go for it.
I was just going to say, if they weren't going to be parents, they could not have pulled this off.
But like he got booed in the first place for being with her. Like he was over as a face for a while on his own. Yeah. And then once he started dating her, he got, so like if that's going to work against him, it should work for him sometimes too. And
absolutely
good. I'm glad it's working.
Yeah. And it was just such a good promo. I love Darby's explanation of, it's not the Sting Appreciation Society where we're equals. Jericho is just taking advantage of all of you and blah. Oh, it's such a.
And I mean, the little Darby's right. He does have to leave Jericho to go farther in his career, like being Jericho's second guy. That's been his thing since Dynamite started. So he's correct. He does need to move on from that. So, yeah, that was really cool.
And the line of the night is whenever Darby looked Jericho right in the eye and said, you call yourself a wizard, but when you're in this ring, the magic's gone. Oh, yeah. It was so good.
And then anything with Sting is good. Like anything.
Yeah. I mean, just them hitting the bats off each other made me happy.
And Jericho, who's constantly, that's why I don't get when like, I don't want to rant about the internet all day. But when people are just like, oh, Jericho said this, so it must be true. Like Jericho said CM Punk, whatever. But like Jericho, like the day before Dynamite aired or 2 days before, whatever it was, tweeted, oh, I don't want to work with Sting. I'm never going to work with Sting. And then like, obviously he's working. Like that's Jericho. He's always worked. That's who he is. Like he's constant, like, and anything he says to people in public, in line, whatever, he's working all the time. So you can't really trust anything he has to say because like he literally said, I don't want to work with Sting. And then 2 days later, he's working with Sting. Like he did that to throw you off, obviously, but then who's to say he's ever telling the truth, right? Like that's just who he is.
Exactly. And that's what makes this so fun. Like it's not this cookie cutter, oh, Jericho's a quote unquote bad guy, so everything that he does is negative. Like no, it's, you can have Jericho. I mean, Jericho does it on commentary all the time. He goes from fan to babyface to heel to in-ring talent to lead singer of a rock and roll band. I mean,
yeah, that's the thing. That's why I think, well, at least myself, that's why I'm frustrated with like how Jericho's been for the last, I don't know, year. Because he is talented. Like he adds, it's not like I'm saying, oh, he's old and should retire. And I don't want to, like, that's not the case.
Yeah.
I just haven't enjoyed the stuff he's doing but like he could do better. Like he's better than that. He can do better than that.
Yeah. I almost think, does he need to get rid of the JAS?
I think maybe he does because he is the sports entertainer gimmick with them, and I think he kind of takes that as like a meta joke. I think like I'm going to do this silly thing because that's what sports entertainment would do. But like unless everyone else also gets the joke, it's not
Right.
funny. It's just boring, right? Like I think that's what he's too far into this like sports entertainer thing, and like he does. I think he even realized he needs to move on. That's why he's bringing back like the Wizard and stuff. Like he needs to move on.
True.
From this too. Like they all kind of need to move on from this.
Yeah. And I mean, even like you said with Hager, if everybody else in the JES can stand on their own, 2.0 is great. Daniel Garcia is great. I mean, even if you put him with 2.0, they're even better. Right. And of course, Sammy. I mean, Hager, I mean, he just kind of belongs with Jericho. I hate to say that, but they work so well together.
I think him and Jake Hager should be like a, Shawn Michaels Diesel type thing. Like Jericho, spouts off and then Hager backs him up. Like that's fine. That act works. Like keep doing that.
Yeah, totally. And then it puts Jericho like in the MJF heel situation where, he'll pick a fight with Adam Cole. He picks a fight with Adam Cole, but he never touches him. It'll be on Hager. You know what I mean? Like, it's so good.
What Christian's doing really well with Luchasaurus, which I'll talk more about. But like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think there's going to be a Sting? Like, are they going to do a one-on-one? I know Sting said he doesn't want to do a one-on-one match ever, but do you think they're going to do a one-on-one match?
If two people could pull it off, it could be Sting and Jericho, and I would almost have to say that's going to be it. All in.
The reason I'd be worried about it is because they're both like they both like ring wise, psychology wise, like you're right, they can make it work. Jericho knows how to work at his age. He knows he's not 25 years old. He knows he can work a different match, and he does. I'd be slightly worried that like both of them it would be too slow after like 10 minutes or 5 minutes. So my first thought was, Sting needs to work with someone who's younger and can kind of bump around for him for a while. But you're right that maybe their veteran instincts can make a match that's good because they both just know so much about wrestling.
Or you could have him pull Sammy along the whole summer, and then you could have the tag match, Sammy and Darby versus Jericho. Not Sammy and Darby, Sting and Darby versus Jericho and Sammy, and have Sammy turn on Jericho, like in the last 10 minutes of that match, just say the heck with it, and then have him walk out or something.
That would be good. That would be good. I would like that. Sammy does need to have a like leaving Jericho moment. He kind of can't just like 2.0 can just stop associating with him and it's fine.
Yeah.
But I think Sammy needs to actually leave him.
Yeah. Oh, and what a way. Like, just in the middle of the match.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yep, I'll take that. Well, speaking of good, the main event of Dynamite, which was the BCC versus the Elite. I mean, first and foremost, just a fantastic wrestling match. Hold on.
It was odd to see them do just a regular match.
Yes.
But it was bad. Like from the cage matches and the Anarchy in Arenas and like the match Mox had with Hangman where they like hit each other with bricks and forks, and then like it was the match was good. I'm not saying it wasn't, but it was odd to see them be in just like a regular wrestling match after all that other stuff. I think it's the right decision, but I was also surprised that the Elite just cleanly won.
Yeah.
I think it's the right thing to do. Lost basically all of these matches, so they needed to win something. But I was surprised.
It was. I'm kind of speechless on it because I liked it, like you said, but I just didn't see it coming. I definitely thought it was going to be the BCC, which is good that I'm kind of speechless on it. But all around, it was a solid outing, we'll say, because I don't necessarily say it was a match.
No,
I mean,
I don't, and this is not even a shot at it. Like I enjoyed it at the time, but I don't really remember the actual match itself. I know
here,
I remember enjoying it, but I don't remember much of what happened, and that's fine. Like it doesn't, you don't need to, like every match doesn't have to be like a 5-star classic. It just needs to carry the story, and it did. Like this match did exactly what it had needed to do.
At 100%. Now, that saying, the ending of the match was 10,000 times better than the match itself.
Oh yeah, the end. This was one of the best endings Dynamite's had, I think, ever.
Yeah,
like it was incredible.
Well, I mean, everybody and their mother showed up. Eddie comes back.
That I did not expect at all.
I totally did not expect Eddie coming back. Eddie came back and instantly attacked Claudio. So I think that's going to be your main event for the July pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But then Takeshita.
Well, first Mox tried to stop him.
Oh, that's true.
Eddie, yeah.
The
Mox Eddie dynamic now that Mox is a heel and Eddie's a face is going to be, because they've done the other way. They've done the other way around where Mox is a face and Eddie's a heel. They've done both being faces, but they've never had Mox be the heel and Eddie be the face. And I really want to see where this goes.
Yeah. I want Eddie to beat Claudio so bad, but I also want him to. Now I want him to have a program with Mox.
I don't want Eddie to beat Claudio, and the only reason I don't want Eddie to beat Claudio is because when no offense to ROH, but when Claudio won the ROH title, they're like, it's his first world title. I'm like, yeah, it is, but ROH, like it's not real. It's ROH isn't at the ROH isn't at the level of like AEW or WWE. Like even when it was an independent company, separate company, like it wasn't at the same level.
True.
I think if Eddie's going to win his first like major, because he never won anything in AEW, I think if he's going to win something, I want him to win like the world title, the AEW world title.
That'd be sick.
And then it could be like he's won nothing in AEW, and I don't know when the last time Eddie's held like any sort of title. So him going from nothing to world champion would be incredible.
Yeah, that would be a good story all around.
And I know they could do it with the RH title too. They could do the same story. Yeah. I just feel like the AEW title would be a bit more meaningful.
Yeah, I agree. That makes sense. Even like with his debut, like had to sell off his gear during the pandemic to make rent.
Yeah,
that'd be great. I'm in.
Yeah, but you're right. That wasn't it. Wasn't just Eddie.
Yeah, it wasn't just Eddie. Takeshita comes down. We still don't have a definitive answer if he is in the BCC or not, or if he's just with Don Callis. But heel Takeshita is just so good, and we'll get into how his new ring entrance, because that's just on another level good. The heel Takeshita ring entrance is the greatest thing ever.
Heel Takeshita's like face Sammy when they were both kind of proposed like a month or so ago. I'm like, neither of those are going to work.
True.
And then like there was no way. Like I thought everyone hated Sammy so much they were never going to cheer him, and I thought everyone just loved Takeshita so much that he was never going to get booed. But like he's made it work. And I know Don Callis is obviously helping, but that's the point of Don Callis. It's been great.
So good. But that wasn't even everybody that showed up. Then out of left field, literally I don't even know where he came from. He just kind of appeared. Will Ospreay.
Well, Kenny Omega.
Well, Kenny Omega first. Kenny Omega. I'm sorry. Kenny Omega came down, and then Takeshita and Omega have the standoff. And while they're in the middle of their standoff, Will Ospreay comes down and gives Kenny Omega the hook kick of the century. And as you said, I think that was probably the best ending of at least this year. That was probably the best ending of Dynamite.
Because not only was it like exciting and unexpected, I didn't expect Ospreay, I didn't expect Eddie. You could kind of expect. Didn't expect those two. Yeah. Not only was it like unexpected, like a nice shock ending, considering like it wasn't like a return or a debut. Like Will Ospreay he's been in AEW before.
Right.
But it was surprising on that level, but also there's just so many storylines that can come out of this. You have like Eddie and Mox, you have Takeshita and Omega. Like when Takeshita and Omega like faced off, like that immediately seemed big. Like them having a match would be incredible. Then Ospreay and Omega, and then as Ospreay's walking up the ramp, he does a little stare down with Danielson. Like all of it. There's so much that could come from this. Like so many things could happen from this. Oh, Claudio, Eddie, all of it. There's just like various levels. It's so good.
And I mean, the whole thing with Danielson being mad at the BCC all the time. Like there could even be turmoil with, you know, like Danielson and Yuta or, unreal.
This is like, I think we said before, like how the Jericho BCC feud lasted forever and it got old. Yeah. This could literally go another year and they would have enough stuff to like have it not be boring. Like they would have enough various combinations of elite members and BCC people to like make it good for a long time.
Oh, that's so incredible.
Because like we just named a bunch of matches they could do. Omega, Takeshita, Omega and Ospreay, Danielson and Ospreay, you know, Eddie and Mox. Like there's just like,
unbelievable. Yeah, I mean that's
excellent and into a show. Great show. I loved it.
Yes, wonderful show. And I mean, they just kept the fire rolling right into the beginning of the brand new show, Collision, Saturday nights, 8:00. Just from the get-go, what did you think?
I have a whole thing on this that I'm going to get to, but general thoughts. First of all, I liked it. I liked the announce team, Kevin Kelly and Nigel McGuinness. Not only were they like they're pretty new voices to AEW, and it sounded different. I don't know if it's Nigel's like British accent, but it reminds me of like a sporting event when they're like it seems more of a sporting event when they're calling it than like no offense to like Excalibur because he's great and Taz, like they're great, but they seem to me more like color guys. Like they call the moves and they talk about the matches, but they also like add color. I just thought Kevin Kelly and Nigel McGuinness called it. It felt more like a sport. They called it more like realistically, I think, and I really liked that. I thought that was great. I like the set. The set's close enough that you can tell it's AEW. It still kind of looks like Dynamite, but it's not the Dynamite set. It's different.
Yeah.
I like that. The Elton John theme, I think, didn't really suit the show, but it's cool to have an Elton John theme for your opening. So that cost Tony like $1 billion. So good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. What did you think?
Well, you hit the nail on the head. I think mission accomplished on they wanted two different feels to two different shows. And it's not going to be, again, not saying that WWE does it bad, but SmackDown is basically the next 3 hours, or it's 2 hours. It's an additional 2 hours of Raw. Like it's not a different show. It's Raw on a different channel.
Rampage and Dynamite were like different people would be on Rampage, but it was still the same kind of show as Dynamite. Like it was another hour of Dynamite basically.
Yeah. And this, like, I loved that it didn't even feel like, I mean, it felt close enough to AEW that, that was an AEW show. But if you were, if I could somehow take the logos out of that and show it to somebody who was maybe just seen AEW a handful of times, you could probably convince them that was a whole different company.
Yeah. Like the production was different. The announcing was different. Like the timing of the segments and the shows. I was watching on Fight and interest. Like they don't talk during commercials most of the time on Collision. Like during commercials on Dynamite and Rampage, like especially Dynamite. Like Excalibur and Taz kind of like tell jokes to each other. Like they're just funny during the breaks. Kevin Kelly basically says nothing. Like there was a couple breaks they said nothing at all. They're quiet.
Oh wow.
Like even that part of it was different. Like it was very different and it was good. It was a good different. You're right. It felt like close enough that you can tell it's an AEW. Like it didn't feel like WWE. It felt like a different, not like an AEW show, but like a completely different AEW show.
Yes.
But I have a thing on this, and if you're done talking about your general thoughts, I'll go into my thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
I liked it. This isn't an attack on Collision. This is not me like that. It was a good show. I enjoyed it. I know it was the first episode, and I understand why they did it this way because it was the first episode. But to me, it felt like it had like a TV show pilot kind of feel to it, if that makes any sense. Like,
oh, okay.
We'll talk about the individual stuff later, but like the Punk promo, great. The Wardlow Luchasaurus match, great. They made it feel like it was like a spin-off of an existing show. Like, you know who these people are, you know what their storylines are, but now see them in this other thing.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
The rest of it kind of felt like it was an introduction to the characters, which I understand why they did it, but it felt like here's Andrade, and here's the House of Black, and here's Miro,
yeah,
and here's the Acclaimed, and they're all going to be on this show, but like they didn't really do anything. Like, especially the Acclaimed, like they didn't do anything. They just like talked. I know Andrade and House of Black kind of had like the House of Black attacked him at the end, which was good. Like that was a storyline.
Yes.
The rest of it felt like kind of like a promo for a show. And I totally understand why they would do it because it's the first episode of the show. But like, maybe I'm wrong. I just don't think there's too many people who are watching Collision who've never seen AEW before. And
that,
so I don't know if they needed to do that.
That's that's a good point. I never looked at it that way.
Like the matches were all good. The wrestling was good.
Yeah.
Like I'll be watching next week. Like even if I wasn't going to next week, like I would watch next week because it was entertaining. Sure. But I feel like I'll be watching it because like, oh, I like these wrestlers and I want to watch them on a show versus like, oh, I can't wait to see what happens. This was so exciting. I want to know what they're going to do next week. Cause like the stuff with Punk, like he called out like the Elite and NJF, which is fine. And like, I want to see that happen, but like that's not going to happen next week. Like they didn't, they didn't say MJF's responding next week. Right. So like that promo didn't make me want to watch next week's Collision. That promo made me want to see what's going to happen later on. But like Dynamite was the perfect example of like, that makes me want to see next week. Cause like there was all that stuff happening at the end of the show, all those potential feuds, like someone's going to respond next week. I want to see what they do. But Dynamite, it was just like, yeah, I've seen Miro wrestle. Oh, he'll be wrestling next week. Like, fine. I like him. But like, I don't know. It just, maybe I'm asking for like more sports entertainment out of it, which is weird for me to say, but, and I think that is why that is what they were trying to do. They're trying to make it different. Like this is like this is a more sporting type feel, or this is a more serious type feel. Like I totally understand why they did it. And like I said, I liked it. And it just felt more like I need to see next week's episode to see like, oh, is that how they're going to do it every week? Or was that just like, because it was the first episode and maybe you hadn't watched in a while and you don't know who Andrade is. So we're going to kind of introduce him in like a non-storyline way. It seemed like it was like a series of promos. Like Miro came out and fought Tony Nese. Miro could have wrestled literally anyone. And like, it didn't have to be Tony Nese. That it was an interchangeable opponent there. And then he didn't do anything afterwards. I was really waiting for like him to cut a promo and call someone out who's going to respond next week, or someone interrupt him and that's going to be his next feud.
Right.
But they didn't do that. They were just like kind of starting you with, here's the characters for the show. And that's fine. I get it. And I like all these people. So it's not like I'm not going to watch. I just thought it was weird.
I could see that. But after saying all that, what did you think of the promo? The infamous.
Oh, the Punk promo?
Yes.
That was exactly what it needed to be, in my opinion.
Yeah. Just the general notes. It's incredible. I wrote down as incredible Punk as always. How do you feel about himself calling himself the Truth?
I felt like that was a little Jericho-y of him because he threw out a bunch of like lines that he wants to catch on. Like, like when I'm telling lies. The truth, and like stop me when I'm telling lies. Like he threw out a bunch of things that he wants to make catchphrases, which is fine. Yeah. Like I get it. But the promo was perfect in the way that like he took little shots at like the Elite, right? Like with the counterfeit bucks and the softer than the wrestlers you cheer. Like those were like, but like if you didn't
Yeah.
Like technically, if you didn't know anything about this, which I don't know why you're watching this show if you know nothing about this, but you might.
Right.
Like maybe there's people who only watch TV and don't look stuff up online. Like they could. If you didn't know anything about that stuff, this promo still made sense. It wasn't so like insider that like you have to have been on Reddit for the last 10 months to know what he was talking about. Like it still would have made sense to you in the scope of like his television character, which I liked. I thought that was great. The thing with the shoes around his neck was a little weird because like he was also wearing shoes, but that's fine.
That had to be a throwback to somebody else. Like that
I feel like
Roddy Piper had to do that or something.
Yeah. Speaking of references, the yellow elbow pad had to be something.
I don't know. I thought
I don't know what it was, but like he even drew attention to it. Like he pointed to it once. Like it must have meant something, but I don't know what it meant.
Yeah, no idea. Unless the Macho Man wore yellow elbow pads, didn't he?
He wore a lot of things. I don't know.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I don't know, but I thought the promo was great. What did you think?
Oh, I absolutely love the promo. To me, the thing that I love the most about it is it was an old-fashioned professional wrestling promo. Like that promo could have ran on WWF Saturday Night's Main Event in 1987. Like he just did wrestling things. Like he didn't swear. He didn't like, not that you have to swear or anything, but he talked about what everybody knew. He gave his 2 cents and he put his spin on it.
Yeah.
That's wrestling 101. I mean,
and like I said, it wasn't like super insider, like MJF's like pipe bomb thing, even Punk's original pipe bomb like 10 years ago. It was so inside, like you had to know who Colt Cabana was or John Laurinaitis. But like this, you didn't need to know any, like he mentioned the executive from Warner Brothers, but like other than that, you didn't really need to know anything other than what you've seen on TV.
Right now,
but like it worked for people who do know more. It worked for them. It worked for like people who've only, you're right. It was a very classic wrestling promo, but like it worked really well for like a 2023 classic wrestling promo too.
Right. Now, my next question is, what belt does he have in that bag?
Yeah, he made it seem, and maybe it is, but that it's the AEW title, because he even said like something about Max when he was off camera, when he was off mic, when he was just like yelling into the camera.
Yeah.
I assumed it was the AEW world title, but I mean, it might not be because he didn't take it out of the bag.
Exactly. And well, this is where I'm going to give the internet credit. That there's a internet rumor going around right now that if you follow what his the promo said, he was like, nobody ever beat me for this, and then he gave his like little shot at Max.
Right.
The internet says that Max is going to quote unquote no show the Tanahashi match, and Punk's going to show up to take the Tanahashi match and say that he's the real champion because he shows up.
I've heard that, and I like that. I don't know if
it'll
happen
here,
but I like it
because it makes Max look like excuse my words, looks like a dick. You know, he's going to no show a legend, blah 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 blah, and then Cult of Personality hits. He has the red bag. It's the belt, and they wrestle for that one.
Yeah, I would like that.
I would love it.
Anything that gets us to an MJF Punk match again, I'm all for, because they're great. They're like, And did you feel? I mean, I think it's pretty obvious, but did you feel that this was like, if it wasn't in Chicago, was this a heel promo?
It was 1,000% a heel promo.
I agree.
It was the looking in the camera and tell me when I'm telling lies. Like that's the greatest words that a heel could say, because he was telling the truth, but don't like what you're hearing.
Right. I mean, the tell me when you're telling lies thing was when he was promo for Moxley against Moxley, and he was already, that was before all this, and he was already kind of heelish, so I think that's the route he's going to take.
Right.
I think if it wasn't in Chicago, he would have got booed. I'm very interested to hear how he gets, what the reaction he gets in Toronto, because like he hasn't been in Toronto for like, I think like over 10, like 15 years or so. Like he hasn't wrestled in here in a very, very long time. Plus he's a super Bret Hart fan. And like the last time AEW was here, like FTR was the most over act at the show. And that's probably entirely because of, or at least partially because of the Bret Hart stuff.
Yeah.
So, but Jericho and Omega are Canadian. Are people going to boo him out of like, oh, we have to pick a side, so we're picking the Kenny Omega? I'm very curious how he's going to be treated in Toronto.
That's all going to depend on what hockey jersey he shows up in, and I'm dead serious because you know he's going to show up in a Kessel jersey.
Oh, I was thinking who's left the Leafs on bad terms.
Or that. I was going to say, if he hasn't...
It's got to be someone who's left the Leafs on bad terms. I can't think of anyone now, though. Yeah, that would be great.
Or he'll
a Panthers jersey. That would be good. Yeah.
He'll bring up Dubas.
Yeah.
Like leaving to go to the Penguins of all teams, like the other team that he hates. Oh.
If there's anyone who left the Leafs to go to the Blackhawks, that would be perfect, but I can't think of anyone. Because that would be great.
Yeah. Oh, hold on.
That could work. That would be great.
Oh, that would be fun. Like I said, it just depends how he wants to play it.
Right.
If he wants to play the heel, that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to go out and buy.
I agree.
Anyways. There's some breaking news before we got on the air here tonight. The Punk naysayers that say that Punk doesn't move numbers and Punk's washed up, blah, 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 blah. His promo video, AEW put it up on their YouTube channel, and it is 9:36 on Monday. So less than 48 hours, or a little over 48 hours, excuse me. Then he delivered his promo. It has over 1 million views already. And that was their biggest YouTube video in 2 months, excuse me. Biggest YouTube
He's
video.
Also, if you look at Shop AEW, like I think the top 5 things of top are all him. Like, he does. Maybe he doesn't move the kind of numbers that everyone thought he did. Like maybe he didn't sell out the United Center like everyone thought he was going to. Collision sales aren't immediately through the roof. I think a lot of that has to do with like Dynamite and Collision were both in Chicago. Then Collision and Forbidden in Toronto. Then next week in Hamilton, it's both Collision and Dynamite. Like I think they've gone to the same place too many times. And they announced Collision second in all those cases. So like you already bought tickets to the one thing. I'm sure there's a portion of the audience who's just like, well, I already bought wrestling tickets. I'm not going to buy more wrestling tickets. Like I get that.
Right.
I think they thought like, oh, we can announce a short notice and people are going to go anyway because CM Punk. So maybe he doesn't sell that many tickets that fast, but like he is definitely a draw.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I like that the AEW formula of quote unquote having their favorite places because we live in those favorite places.
Right. If you didn't live in those places, I could see being annoyed by it.
Yeah, because you could literally say, "Oh wow, it's been about 3 weeks. They're due for Chicago. Oh, they haven't been to Pittsburgh." I was just thinking as when I was watching Collision, like, "Oh, Pittsburgh's due for a pay-per-view pretty soon because we haven't had one yet."
Right.
And I was thinking, like, since they have to do the Peterson Center, it would be perfect for a Ring of Honor pay-per-view.
Right.
They could sell,
that would be great.
Yeah, they could sell 8,000 tickets for Ring of Honor. But I agree with you though. Going to the same places, like as cool as that is, because we get to take advantage of that. Like I think this is where Jarrett stepping in and saying, "Hey, let's spread the wealth a little bit here."
Yeah, and I think it's also Collision was announced really short notice. Like they announced Collision, then like it was like they announced Collision like a month ago, and like now it's happening, right? So if they had announced them at the same time, if they had announced like Forbidden Door and Collision happening Saturday and Sunday, and like, oh, if you buy both tickets, there's a deal, right? People would have gone to both because you're like, oh, I'm already there. I might as well go to both.
Right.
But now, like, if you're from out of town and you're coming here, you didn't plan to come here on Saturday. You plan to come here on Sunday.
Right.
So coming here on Saturday is like a whole other thing, which you didn't expect to happen. So like I get it why it's not doing well.
Yeah, but hey,
but I'm happy. I'm going.
Yeah, and they're going to learn from it too.
Yeah, for sure.
That, you know, they're going to see, hey, we announced all these shows, and you know, we could have done 25% better. So maybe next year we'll spread it out or something.
Yeah, I agree.
Moving right along, the next time that the internet was mad this week, they did not like Wardlow versus Luchasaurus.
Really? I loved it.
Oh, it was amazing.
I didn't watch Collision until Sunday, so I avoided the internet for a long time. So I have no idea what the internet thought of anything. So yeah, I'm surprised by that. I thought that was great.
Oh, well, the internet said they ruined Wardlow. He'll never, quote, never return from this.
I was surprised by it, especially because like I did expect Wardlow to have a long reign because he's kind of had a shaky run in his TNT title runs. So like I did expect him to have a long reign, but I thought the way they did it, like obviously he got screwed. Right. And obviously the feud's not over. So I thought it was great. And like Christian holding the title up and not even giving it to I thought he was going to hold it up and then give it to Luchasaurus, but no, he never gave him the belt at all.
And then left on Luchasaurus' shoulders.
Yeah, that was great. That was wonderful.
It was so good.
They have to book something for him like this week because they're in Toronto. He has to do something.
Oh, yeah. Well, we were talking about Forbidden Door too. He'll claim that he's going to put his belt on the line. Oh, that would be great.
That would be amazing actually. If he put an open challenge for the TNT title and like it's not even his title. That would be wonderful.
Right. That would be so good. Yeah, but
and the match was good.
That match. Yes, that showed two highly athletic, large human beings going again, excuse my language, balls to the wall.
Yeah.
That was a banger of a match. And I feel bad for Luchasaurus because, well, first off, you say his name and people are like, oh, that's stupid.
Right. he kind of does need a new name. Like, I kind of think he does. But
see, I don't. I love it because, like, I know what he is. Like, I just never, like, I know he's good. He's not just a guy that pretends to be a dinosaur.
Right.
But him doing that makes it even better. Like,
right.
Some dude said something on Twitter that it said something like, oh, Luchasaurus was fired by WWE like 3 or 4 times throughout his career, and look, of course he prospers in AEW. And someone responded with, well, dude's 65 million years old, he only got fired by WWE 3 times. That's pretty good.
That's good.
It was wonderful.
I don't think this is over though. I think this is going to keep going.
It's definitely going to keep going.
And I'm excited to see what happens. And that's one of the reasons, like I said at the beginning of the Collision segment, we were talking about, like, this is one of my favorite things that happened on Collision because it was a continuation of what we have seen, and it's going to continue. Like now, I want to see what happens, and if it is next week on Collision, like I'm going to tune in to see what happens with that. Like it was great.
Yes. Yeah, and like I want to know so bad whenever Edge's contract runs out, because I mean, just imagine they challenge Christian challenges like a tag match with Luchasaurus, and he's going to say, oh, what are you going to do? You're going to bring Arn with you? And then like that's who you think it is, and then boom, Edge comes out in Toronto
for a while, but he's been shy about actually telling people how long it is, so I don't know.
Well, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe maybe he'll Roderick Strong it show up in Toronto. Now, if Tony Khan would pull off signing Edge secretly and then having him debut in Toronto, oh my God. Literally the building, it would just fall apart.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, speaking of former WWE guys who Tony Khan signed,
yes,
both Miro and Andrade returned on this show.
Yes.
I've already said what I thought about their returns. They were fine, but I like both of them, but like their returns were fine. What did you think?
I thought Andrade. I mean, I thought Miro's was great just because he just looked annoyed the whole time,
Yeah.
and that's what made it. Like I did want the promo at the end though, like you said.
Yeah, I want him to do I want him to do a bit more. Like I know he can like beat people up. Like we know that. I wanted him to do more.
Yeah, like I wanted him to destroy Tony Nese and then get the mic and say, "God, why are you punishing me?
Right.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Look, like, oh, that was anyway.
I wanted that. I really wanted that. And I guess Andrade is a face now. It seems kind of like he's a face now.
Well, I see. This is where I think he's pulling the wool over everyone's eyes. I think he's going to play Mr. Nice Guy, and he's going to try to take back his role as the leader of the LFI, which is amazing that still exists, and we've been talking about it for a year.
Yeah. Well, apparently Rush's contract is up soon, and he like I don't know if he's coming back. He did say something. He left. Who did he leave? AAA.
Yes.
And he said something about being a free agent, but people don't know if he's means free agent in Mexico or like free agent. So we're not sure.
Yeah. Personally, I think he resigns, just because they're gonna, hold that Andrade carrot over his head and be like, hey, you guys can have like the family.
I hope he
works together.
He's done a much better job than I thought. Like I didn't know anything about him, and he's done a great job in AEW. So I really hope he resigns.
Same here. And it was noted, I don't know anything about him, but apparently Rush's dad quit AAA too.
Yeah.
And I don't know what he did. I don't know if he was like an actual wrestler, if he was a booker talent guy, but him being a free agent, like, I don't know, the internet seemed very excited that he was a free agent too. So
all right. What did you think of Andrade using Charlotte's move to the match? I thought it was great.
I thought it was amazing, and you missed the greatest tweet ever by Andrade. He tweeted at Charlotte, "Why didn't you tell me your finisher was so hard?"
That's good. Yeah, he kind of struggled. He kind of struggled to get into the bridge there. Yeah. And I love how they mentioned it, like the AEW announce team, like Nigel and Kevin Kelly, like, oh, he took a reference from someone else, but then they called it the figure eight. Like,
yeah,
they're not going to mention Charlotte Flair's name on TV, but like they basically mentioned it, which was way better than like just pretending, oh, that's a new move from Andrade. Like that was, it was good.
Yeah, because like you said, if that would have been the other way around, they would have said, oh, that's a brand new move. He must have invented it.
Right. Yeah. And it was cool. I don't know. It was cool to see because usually like when there's a wrestling couple, the woman ends up taking stuff from the man because in most cases the guy is more famous. Like Britt Baker has taken some of Adam Cole's stuff, right? Like she's done like the Panama Sunrise and stuff like that. But I think it's really cool that he's, she's probably the bigger star, at least at this point. So him taking stuff from her and like they're both equal and stuff. It's cool. I liked it.
It's very cool. I liked it too. And I think it's just a matter of time before Charlotte shows up in AEW. Like that contract, I think it was 3 years, and that was like a year and a half-ish ago.
Yeah. So and, I mean, she's won everything there possibly is to win in WWE multiple times over. So
and it seems like she doesn't want to be there, and it seems like she hasn't wanted to be there in a while. So
yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the women's division, Sky Blue has had a hell of a week.
Yes, I don't know if it was just because they were in Chicago and she's from there, or if this is like a real push for her. But either way, it's been great.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought that up. I want to give AEW credit. I love the fact that they, no matter who it is, if it's your hometown, you work, and they make sure to let everybody know that you're from there.
And they let you do something good most of the time.
Yeah.
Like you don't necessarily win all the time, but like they let you do something good. It's so opposite from like the Vince McMahon, oh, you're in your hometown, we're going to have you, we're going to on you and then throw you in the garbage and mock your entire existence in front of your family, like every single time.
Yes, every single time.
Yeah, it's the complete opposite of that. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it was just, it's just fun. And her push, like you said, if it's a push or not, I think it is, but it's cool to see.
Yeah, and I like the team of her and Willow. It's great. They're a good team.
I mean, there's nothing better than that. I'm glad you brought that up too. I want to put you on the spot. Do we get the women's tag titles by the year's end?
Maybe. I thought they might for a while. They do have teams. They have more teams than not a shot at WWE, but they have a women's tag division is hard because there's generally fewer North American women's wrestlers who can like carry a championship. Like there just tends to be. Not that they can't do it. Mostly just like the demographic and how North American women's wrestling hasn't really been a big deal until the last like 10 years. Like it hasn't been treated serious, hasn't been treated well. So I totally understand the situation.
I wonder why that's like that.
Has more teams than probably WWE does, and they treat tag team wrestling better anyway. So
yes,
it could definitely happen.
Yeah, I think we get them definitely by the year's end. I would love to see, like Tony Khan likes his tournaments, so I'd like to see something with ended Full Gear or something like that. That'd be fun.
It'd be good.
Big time main event on the first Collision ever. We had CMFTR, which thank God someone was smart enough to put that on a shirt. Versus
multiple shirts.
Yes. Well, yeah, now multiple shirts. Versus Bullet Club Gold and Samoa Joe. I don't think Bullet Club Gold is getting the respect that they're so good.
Yeah, they really are. It's weird that they're being, I don't know, maybe it's because they're a tag team and like AEW they have a lot of trios now and they kind of push trios more than tag teams.
Yeah.
Maybe they need some more members because they've been great. Like I think I said last week, like I didn't really like Juice Robinson before, but now I do. Like now I think he's hilarious. And Jay White is Jay White. Like he's great at everything.
And so much was teased in this main event. I mean, I do think eventually, well, it all involved Punk too. I think we're going to get Punk versus Jay White eventually, and Punk versus Joe for that television title. I mean,
yeah, when Punk and Joe got in the ring, that was a moment on its own.
I rewound it to try to see if the camera mics picked up like when they were yelling at each other.
Yeah.
I just to hear what they would have said, but
that's another thing I noticed on Collision actually, that I don't know if maybe it's just because I always listen. I was watching the same thing. Anyway. Okay. The mics at the ringside seemed louder. You could hear people talking more, I thought.
That could be. I usually watch with my headphones on, and I didn't have the surround sound on, so I'll rewatch. I
thought you could hear like I think it was during commercial, but there was a couple times when I heard, I forget who, call a couple spots, which I know everyone gets mad at. I don't care about it because I obviously know.
I think it's great.
Exactly. But you could also hear them like trash talking more, like when like the Outcasts were on, you could hear them like you could hear Punk, you could hear like I thought it was different and I liked it. Like it did seem more like real to me than other wrestling. And I love that they gave Joe and Punk, like they recognized the moment, like they didn't. It wasn't like a random, like they purposely made them getting in the ring, like the whole match stopped, and then they had kind of a stare down. And if you notice, like Bullet Club even got off the apron, and I think later FTR dropped off the apron too to be like, okay, this is a thing that's happening. Like they all treated it like a really big moment, like it should have been. And it was really cool. It wasn't just like a one-off, like, oh, Joe got tagged in and now they're fighting. Like they made it a moment. It was great.
They did. Yes, they did make it a moment. And it was so fun. And like I said, it was such a preview. And FTR, there's none better in the game right now.
Oh, yeah,
they are
for sure.
So good. Just the little things that they do. Again, like you just said, we understand everybody's talking and they're communicating in the ring and everything. I was watching them when Punk would be in the ring. Like, again, I don't know if they were like working or if they were actually talking, but unlike like the other tag team, like Juice Robinson and Jay White, whenever like they would just kind of stand, like they'd interact with the crowd and stuff, but like Dax and Cash like made it look like they were strategizing, and it was just the little nuances that were so good.
Like you can like obviously it's over the top, but like you can tell that they respect and have watched everything Bret Hart's ever done, because Bret Hart was good at like the little stuff, right? Like small things that you wouldn't expect to happen, and they're good at in the same way. They're great. Yeah, great match. Everything about it was good.
Yeah, and well, now we have some previews to go over.
Dynamite looks like
Dynamite's
a lot going on.
We had some breaking news. I was on Twitter right before we started. They announced we're going to hear from Adam Cole on Wednesday to talk about the ending of the time limit draw. Statlander is put the open challenge for Taya. How do you feel about this? I'll let you take the reins. How do you feel about it?
If Statlander hadn't just won the title, I would think this is like where Taya screws her and like cheats and wins it, and then is like a big heel champion. Like, and he's like, "Oh, I should have had this in the first place. I deserve it more than you." Like, I think. But I hope that's not what they do, because we just had like a big heel TBS title reign, and Stat just won it. So I hope she somehow keeps it.
I was gonna say, I hope they do like I hope Statlander beats her, and then Taya is just like, give me like one more shot, blah blah blah, and they have not like a series, like just one more match, like Statlander beats her, and then they give him like a pay-per-view match.
I agree.
I would be okay with that, but Statlander has to win both. Like,
yeah, I agree.
Again, she doesn't need to beat Jade Streak, but she needs to have some sort of time with the belt.
Yeah, I agree.
And that match is gonna rock.
It's gonna be great.
Well, talk about greatness. Orange Cassidy and Shibata are taking on Zack Sabre Jr. and Daniel Garcia. Like, unbelievable.
And it seems pretty obvious it's going to lead into Forbidden Door. Cassidy against Zack Sabre Jr. and Daniel Garcia against Shibata, but it's going to be great. Like, Orange Cassidy has been, I don't know, Orange Cassidy has been possibly the MVP of like this, I don't know, this year for AEW. Like, he's been great. Everything he's done has been great. He's kind of carried the opening of every show. His title reign has been great. His character work has been excellent. Every interview he does with Renee is immediately classic.
Everything he does is classic. I mean, you give the guy a microphone and it's just gold. Like, when he didn't understand the "it's time for the main event" thing, I laughed every time.
He's great.
I love when the Best Friends were on Rampage in the main event. I would be so happy when he would fight with Mark Henry.
He's done a great job.
Yeah. And like you said, he has to be the workhorse of the year, because he has just not only wrestled a million times, each one has delivered. Like, he hasn't had a stinker yet.
And they've all been kind of different matches. He's working a storyline of like where he gets more and more beat up every time, but he still manages to win. Like, it's for a guy whose whole gimmick when he initially was just like, he doesn't care. Like, he's done so much, and even the storyline of like, he didn't really care, but now he keeps winning and he wants to keep winning, so like he's gonna try. Like, remember, was it the running gag before? Like, he's gonna try. He's
gonna try now.
He tries every match now. Like, that's just his thing, and it's been great.
No complaints with anything he's done. Now, what do you think the tag team blind eliminator tournament is?
Yeah, I love how they mentioned it as if we know what that is. They're just like, eliminator tournament. I'm like, what does that mean? Do you know what that means? Because you didn't explain it, so I'm surprised. Yeah, I think it's you don't know who the team. It's a tournament. You don't know who the teams are or who you're going to face. I'm assuming that's what it is. But
okay, see, I took the total
I don't know.
opposite of that. I took the total opposite of that, meaning that they were gonna like you didn't know who your partner was.
Yeah, that could be it too. Like I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. Is the whole tournament? Is the whole tournament on one show? Is it like the start of a tournament? Like I don't know what's happening. I honestly think that they just booked it and they were like, we'll figure it out later, and just like went on.
Yeah. Hey, TK loves tournaments. Like
yeah, he does
6 a year.
He does.
How long until we have the I forget what WrestleMania it was, but the actual, or maybe it was a SummerSlam. The whole pay-per-view was the tournament.
Oh yeah, they did it twice, I think. WrestleMania 4 and the Survivor Series 98. The whole show was the tournament.
Okay. So yeah, Tony Khan, we're gonna have one of them eventually.
Survivor Series 98, not to get on a weird offshoot. For all of Vince Russo's faults, that was a great show. Like there was so many swerves and weird stuff happening, but like it was great. Like it was like it's his masterpiece, and it was the only time, but it worked.
I barely even remember, but I do remember bits and pieces of that.
That was the one where The Rock was the face, and then he turned on McFoley at the end and joined Vince.
Oh, that's when he went to the corporation. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And they worked it so well because, again, not to make it an offshoot thing, but like all of his matches seemed really easy for him. And as you're watching it, you're thinking, oh, he's just so good. That's why all his matches seem so easy. And then it turned out like, no, his matches were easy because Vince was helping him. It was great. Great show. Yeah, do that. Do a whole show that's just a tournament. I would love to see that.
No, that'd be amazing. Well, it's definitely going to happen.
Yeah, because he loves tournaments. I'm sure Tony Khan took meticulous notes during every one of those tournament shows and is planning one himself.
Oh, yes. We get which this is going to be so much fun. We're going to a concession stand brawl between the man of 2023, Jeff Jarrett, and Mark Briscoe.
That'll be fun.
It's going to be so fun, and people that are going to be mad about it, like. I hate when people say like, "Oh, Tony Khan's ruining Mark Briscoe." No, they're letting the guy have fun because he lost his brother.
I think it's basically just like you can do silly stuff for a while and just like have a good time, and that's probably what he wants to do, not just to like help himself emotionally, but like his matches with his brother were completely different, and he may not want to do matches like that right now because it's too much to do matches like you did with your brother. So like, yeah, just have fun. Guys are his friends. Like, just it'll be fun.
Yeah, like of course everybody knows what's going to happen. Like there's going to be mustard and ketchup and hot dogs and pizza,
popcorn,
popcorn, like someone will pour themselves a beer or get a beer out of the crowd. It's all going to happen because it happens during every one of these.
Right?
It's just enjoy it and laugh.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Someone's going to slip and fall. That always happens. Someone steps on like someone steps on some ketchup or something.
Right. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah,
and we did mention Jericho Guevara and Minoru Suzuki against Action Andrade. Action Andretti. Yeah. Sorry, I'm Kevin Kellying it. Did you notice Kevin Kelly said Andrade's name wrong several times,
and then said Andrade's name when he talked about Action Andretti.
Andrade, yeah, he pronounced Andrade wrong every time until he had to talk about Action Andretti, and then he called him Andrade.
Yes, that was amazing.
It was great.
I
don't know what's wrong, but that'll be fun too.
So that's Sammy, Jericho, Minoru Suzuki versus AR Fox, Action Andretti, and Darius Martin. I almost said Dante. Sorry.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I have no idea what's happening with it, but it'll be fun.
That's just to get Minoru Suzuki on TV.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean,
and there'll probably be some dissension between Sammy and Jericho. So yeah.
Yes, I will say, have you ever seen? Was Suzuki there when you went to Rampage last year?
No.
Or was that for that man being however old he is? That is a scary dude.
Yeah.
Like he walked out when not the last time when me and Biddy were there, but the very first time I went a year ago. and he came to the ring. I mean, that looked like somebody that, oh, if I ran into you, and it didn't even have to be a dark alley. Like I could have ran into you in the middle of the street at noon and I'd be terrified. Like that dude is all business. So is Ishii. Like Ishii looks like you could hit him with your car and he'd be like,
yeah,
someone tap me on the shoulder. Like,
yeah.
Anyways, again, Punk, he was only on TV one time and he was only going to be on Collision, but it's
we couldn't have a week, even though he's already back. We couldn't have a week without CM Punk rumors.
Yeah.
He's already back and we still have rumors about him.
Yeah. Apparently he might be on Dynamite because the Bucks are quote unquote apparently not going to be there. I don't know why they would be, why they wouldn't be, but anyways, this makes no sense to me other than to draw people to like controversy. Because,
yeah, I mean, him being on Dynamite makes sense because it's in Chicago. So
right, but he's gonna be on the very last live show before the pay-per-view.
Right.
But I get that it's in Chicago, but there's no. It's just dumb. Like you said, that's the announcement for the announcement.
Right.
Week.
Yeah. Yeah. Like once he mentioned not directly, but essentially mentioned the Bucks in his promo, and AEW mentioned it. Like it's on their website, it's on their social media, it's on their YouTube. If they didn't want him to say that, they wouldn't promote that. As soon as he mentioned that and they promoted it, like they've made up. They will work together eventually. It might not be soon. Like maybe they'll drag it out. Maybe it'll be a while from now. And I don't even, like I said a bunch of times, like I don't care if it was a work to begin with or was not a work to begin with. Right. I think at this point in June 2023, they might not be best friends, but they've decided like, hey, that'd be really cool if we did something together. And they're going to work together at some point. And I don't know when it will be, but it would be really cool if they said, not said, but like the internet had a rumor of like, oh, the Bucks are mad, they're not showing up, and then they did show up. That would be great.
Yeah, there's so many ways to do this where I want, in my fantasy booking brain, I want Punk to join the Bucks somehow.
Right.
And like have them go against Kenny that way.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Just because the internet would, like, Twitter would just catch on fire. Like everybody's phone would explode because nobody would know how to react.
See, I even think part of the reason they're not showing up, if they don't show up, is not because they can't be in the same room with CM Punk. I don't think that's true. I think if they don't show up on this show, it's because they're the faces and they don't want to they might get booed because they're trying to save them from getting booed.
Right.
It's not like they can't stand each other. It just they don't want they have a big feud against the BCC and they're supposed to be the good guys and they don't want them getting booed, which would probably happen in Chicago.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's
like a logistical, like it's a practicality decision, not like they can't work together decision.
It's the MJF factor when they're in Long Island. He can say and do whatever he wants, and they just cheer for him. And whoever,
like, it wrecks everything. Yeah,
yeah, because no matter who he's wrestling, they're gonna get destroyed. Like,
yeah, it makes me think Christian may not be in Toronto because if they're trying to push him as a heel and Wardlow as the face, like that wouldn't work here. So maybe they don't even have him show up at all.
Unless Christian now, and I'm being dead serious, how would the crowd react if Christian showed up in a Canadiens jersey?
Seriously. I mean, Christian is good enough that he can make you boo him even if you like him. Like but it's a lot easier to make someone boo you who wants to cheer you than it is to make them cheer you if they want to boo you. Like I think if the Bucks went to Chicago, like they can't do anything to make to get cheered at this point.
Yeah, they could hand it out $1,000 checks to everybody. Right. And it'll be a 50-50 crowd.
Right. Like they can't turn the whole crowd on their side. Like that's impossible at this point.
Yeah. Oh, it's so much fun.
It'll be fun.
Well,
speaking of fun,
Forbidden Door.
I'm going to be at Forbidden Door.
I did not. Was not aware.
Once today, but it's my last chance to do it, so I'm doing it again.
We know a few more matches now.
Yes. Unexpected, not bad, but just unexpected.
Very unexpected. We talked about it earlier. Tanahashi has challenged MJF. I thought that was I like how this is year 2, and in year 2, New Japan is. I mean, we knew who New Japan was, but now the AEW fan base, everybody knows who New Japan is. So it's more of a 50-50 show, and Tanahashi making the challenge. I like that.
Yeah, it also seems like you're right. Like New Japan learned, this is what this show, not I mean in character, not
right
outside of the show. The New Japan wrestlers have learned, like, this is what that show is. It's like a showcase show. So I want to be on it. So I'm going to challenge. I'm going to make it. But yeah, it's great.
And just, I mean, Max went the past 3 weeks to say there's nobody in this company, blah, blah, blah. So, like, you knew where that was leading to. That was leading to the Forbidden Door match. And then all of a sudden.
New Japan and Indie Fed. I think it's great.
Oh, it's amazing. And then all of a sudden there's this, like I said earlier, the internet rumor of, MJF no showing and Punk's going to show up with the title. Now, if they did that, if Tanahashi beat Punk and then took the title, they could have Tanahashi versus MJF at All In for a title unification match.
And it would make MJF want the match, because right now he's like, why do I have to do it? I don't have to do it. But like if there's someone else walking around claiming to have his championship, then he might be more willing to do it. Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, I literally just popped in my head, and that'd be great. I always say this person's name wrong, so I'm gonna do it real slow. Sonata challenged Jack Perry.
Yes.
Or no, he had an open challenge. Open challenge, yeah. Excuse me. It's an open challenge, and Jack Perry answered. And that's where I think a lot of people were confused about this one.
I was a little confused about it. It's for the New Japan title, like the IWGP World title. And like, how come no one, like, wouldn't you immediately accept that? Like, why didn't, like, it took a while, and then like Jack Perry in a random backstage promo was like, hey, you know what? I'll do it. Like, it was a little weird.
Yeah. I mean, he's not going to win, obviously.
No. It was pretty. I thought that was a heel. That was a heel thing. It was a very heelish. Jungle Hook. I have always said we're going to be Jungle Hook, but also I said I'm going to win a singles title, so I'm going to win the singles title. But Hook, we're still friends, right? Like, it was him flip-flopping between Jungle Hook is only for one night only. I want to win a singles title. Oh, I couldn't win a singles title. Jungle Hook. Oh wait, there's a singles title. Okay, I want that again. Like, it's been it's heely to me.
It's very, very heely to me, and I have a theory that what's going to happen is Jack Perry is going to have it set up where he's going to be ready to pin Sonata for the win, and Hook's going to come and make Jack lose, and then that's going to lead into a feud.
I think he'll lose, and he'll blame Hook for it. Like,
oh, okay.
I think he'll lose and then be like the referee might be knocked out, and
like Hook didn't jump in or something.
Oh, why didn't you help me? You should have helped me. And Hook being like, hey, I was just supposed to be in your corner. I wasn't going to help you. Like, I think he's going to blame him for it, and that's how he's going to turn heel. And I didn't think that he could turn heel, but I also didn't think Takeshita could turn heel. So maybe he can.
Oh my goodness! I just thought of something. What if he turns heel and goes back to Christian?
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah, I want that.
Oh man,
that'd be fun.
I want that to happen now.
Yeah, that'd be good. I like that.
Oh. Anyways, well, talk about something that's going to be good. It's going to be an instant classic, because just saying it out loud makes me happy. Danielson versus Okada. There's no possible way this could be bad in any means.
No, they could both break all of their limbs, like, on the way to the ring. and they'd still have they'd have a good match somehow. Like it would be it'd be incredible. I think I might block out.
I might black out. I'm going to be watching it in my living room.
It's going to be great.
Yeah. The thing that the two things I like about this, they had their little promo video where, they both kind of talk one time, they just kind of talk smack on each other. And then it's kind of just been left. Like they're advertising it, obviously, but like the two wrestlers haven't done anything.
Right.
And I think this week is guaranteed Okada's got to fly in soon because he's going to have some jet lag. But you're going to get a face-to-face this week, either on one of the three shows this week. Danielson and Okada are going to go face-to-face. Oh.
And I like it because they kind of left it at like, I think this is a fair statement. Anyone who watches AEW in 2023, you at least know who Okada is. Maybe you haven't seen him in New Japan, but like you at least know who he is and know what his reputation is of like having great matches.
Yes.
I don't think that's a stretch to say that like the vast majority of the AEW audience knows that, and they've kind of just left it at that. Like, oh, Bryan Danielson's really good. Okada's going to be really good. So the match will be good. Like you just know that. Like you just know it. They don't have to. They don't have to do anything really. They don't have to say much. Like I don't care why they're wrestling. I just want them to wrestle. Like it'll be great.
Yeah. When I was sitting here going through the outline and everything, I totally just thought to myself, I could be perfectly okay if Forbidden Door meant that every year Danielson and Okada just wrestled each other. It was just guaranteed on the card.
Right. Because it'll be good every time.
Yeah. Every time. Yeah. Like
I think it's impossible for them to not have a good match.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the only match that could potentially follow it, which I've heard, like the rumors are this is going to be the main event, and it should be.
Yes, it should be. Agreed.
Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay. The only match that can follow Danielson and Okada, because like anyone else, you can't. But like Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay at Wrestle Kingdom was, I still think, maybe my favorite match of the year. It was so good.
And well, this one Ospreay has to win it, right?
Yeah, I'd assume so. Because there's going to be a third. It's probably going to be in England.
At All In.
At Wembley. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless people pointed out the Okada Omega trilogy. Omega lost the first two.
Ah.
And it was like, oh, I got closer this time. Because the Will Ospreay Omega match, like Omega beat him pretty badly. Like it was a good match, but it was a definitive win for Kenny Omega. Maybe the second one, he gets closer. And he's like, oh, I was so it was closer.
Oh,
like,
okay.
And even tease him like, oh, if we fought again, now I can beat you another time. If we had one more match, I could do it. And that's how they do the third one. Because there is going to be a third one. It'd be silly not to have a third one.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like I just said, Danielson and Okada. Like, let them wrestle. Let all four of these men wrestle each other 3-4 times a year.
Like I honestly said, like if these were the only two matches on the show, I'd be like, I'm glad I went. It's worth it.
It's 100%.
It's gonna be outstanding. Amazing.
And like you have to figure, we have, let's see, that's 5 hours of AEW this week, and we only know 4 matches going into a major dual brand pay-per-view.
Yeah. And I get why. I mean, we technically know more because there probably is going to be Orange Cassidy and Zack Sabre Jr.
Oh, but
not officially announced.
Not officially announced, right?
It's probably going to be Shibata and Danny Garcia.
Yeah.
I don't know how much more they put on that show. I'm assuming they're going to have a bunch of multi-competitor matches just to put people on the card.
Yeah.
I hope Willow gets a match because she is a New Japan champion. So I hope she gets a match against someone because that would be fun.
Oh, wouldn't that be sick if because Mercedes was hurt, but if they still gave Willow Trinity?
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Like just because. Yeah, because we expected that's who was going to be at Forbidden Door.
Well, apparently Stardom is booked that Stardom has a show this week, like next week, like the same weekend.
Okay.
So they can't really Stardom, but like they could do someone. someone who's not on. Like I don't really care who it is. It would be cool if Willow had a match.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I think they should do that. I don't know who else they put on it. I do think they're going to have like a 8-man tag or something just to get a lot of more people on the show. But it'll be I don't even care that they haven't really announced that many matches because like this is kind of like an all-star game. It's not a build show really. It's just like, hey, wouldn't it be cool to have these guys wrestle each other? Oh, look, they are.
Yeah, and the 2 matches, like you just said, the 2 matches that we have known in advance, that's all you need to know.
Right.
Well,
yeah.
I mean,
they could do it like an old school ECW pay-per-view and not announce anything until the actual show, and it would still be fine. Like,
yeah.
do you think we get Punk versus Kenta? That's my other thing about the bag, because I don't know if you've seen Kenta tweeting, he started off, I want to fight CM Punk at Forbidden Door. Like, I'm available that day at Forbidden Door. And then I want to face CM Punk. And then, I'll only do it if I get paid well. And then, I'll only do it. I think he said his actual tweet was like, I'll only do it if I get the right bag. And then now, I'm not going to wrestle CM Punk.
Oh, well. Come on. We all know what that means in wrestling.
Yeah.
That's like saying we're going to stay with this as long as it takes.
Right.
I mean, that just means you're on the clock, buddy.
Right. So is that the bag? I mean, the bag, you assume the bag was money, but is the bag whatever?
Is
the bag?
Oh, I really want to, like, it's obviously probably an AEW title, but like, I'm just trying to think, like, did he ever hold like a Ring of Honor? Like,
he lost the ROH title on the way out, right? He didn't retire.
He definitely lost it. Yeah, he lost it on the way out, and he never. It's obviously not a WWE title because I mean, it could be in the bag, but he's never going to take it out and it have the WWE logo on it.
Right.
Well, on that note, sir, do you have anything to add?
No, I'm super excited.
Same here.
Not just for the shows I'm going to, like for Dynamite, I'm super excited. This was a good week for wrestling, and that's it. I don't have anything else. Do you?
No.
You can do a question of the week. Question of the week is, what are you most looking forward to in the next week? Because it's all good stuff. So what do you want? What are you the most excited for? Like match, event. I'm super excited for Danielson Okada.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add. I'm also excited for Danielson Okada, and just this week's going to be bananas, and I cannot wait.
Share, follow. Twitter is odd, so if you could retweet us, actually, if you see our stuff, that would, because I don't know who's seeing our tweets anymore. So if you could do that, that would be great.
Yes, please do that, because Twitter is just we used to reach way more people than we do now, and more people follow us, but less people see it, and we're not paying for it. So
right.
Anyways, thank you, everybody. It's been fun, and next week, be prepared. It'll probably be a long one because we're gonna have a lot to talk about.
Yes, for sure.
So until then, enjoy this week because it's gonna be a hell of a week of wrestling. Enjoy yourself. Stay safe. Until next week. Later.